Hey y'all, welcome back to JayeRated. So today I'll be covering episodes 10, 12, and 13 of Love Island Games Season 2. And whoo-cha, a lot has happened. We had new bombshells, messy recouplings, an interesting duel, and some Power Ranger shenanigans, okay? So let's get into it. So, starting with episode 10, I called this one Bombshell Boxes. So, we came into this episode with Andreina and Johnny safe, and Toby and Sydney as power couple. So, that left Tyrique and Justine, Nicola and Marvin, Lucinda and Isaiah, as well as Josh and Andrea, and Kendall and Garby all vulnerable. And then we have Tyrique who pulls a whole performance for Justine. Like he wasn't just fuming the last episode that she didn't pick him, and he was saying that he felt like he couldn't trust her. Now we see him cozying up to her, basically saying, "Oh, I'm not trying to play you," just for him to turn around and be petty later on in the episode. Meanwhile, Johnny and Andreina are having chats, with Johnny seeming to be, it from my point of view, like pretty straightforward with Andreina saying that he wants to see like a deeper side of her. It seems like their conversations are maybe a little more surface level. But I also think he wants somebody who's going to be willing to fight when it comes to like the challenges and the duels. And I'll be honest too, I think Andreina is relying a little too much on Johnny for the game. I would have loved to see a lot more fight in my girl. Then we have Kendall and Garby, who've had their first disagreement. Basically, in the last challenge, baby birding, the Islanders had to spit into each other's bowls. And so Lucinda felt like Garby was going for them. And so she brought that to Kendall, and Kendall brought that to Garby. And Garby was pressed by it because she felt like Kendall was maybe taking Lucinda's side more over her own. Kendall and Lucinda are friends on the outside. Um, how much of friends, I don't know, but clearly enough for him to question Garby and her intentions in that moment. And she was pretty upset by that. But let's be real. The biggest moment of this episode was the bombshells coming in, okay? So we have Casey and Gabby, both from Love Island UK, but was also on the last season of Love Island All Stars together and won, baby. So they're exes, okay? They have come into the villa to shoot their shot at the games. So they had them hide in these two large gift boxes. And basically, the Islanders got to choose whether or not they wanted to couple up with them. So let me just break it down for you. Each Islander got a little like gift card that had two boxes for them to check. Either they wanted to open the box, aka try to couple up with whomever the bombshell is that's in the box, or return to sender, aka stay in the position that they're in, which is vulnerability. So if the bombshell chose that they also wanted to couple up with them, then they'd no longer be vulnerable. If the bombshell chose someone else, then they would remain vulnerable. And so, a little interesting twist was that the safe couples, both Toby and Sydney, who's the power couple, and Andreina and Johnny, also got to choose whether or not they wanted to um, risk their safety and the safety of the person they're in a couple with and try to couple up with the new bombshell. And so we had Andrea, Justine, Lucinda, and Garby all say return to sender, that they did not want to try to couple up with the new bombshell. And Nicola was the only girl who said, "Hey, I want to risk it. I'm already vulnerable. I want to try to couple up with the bombshell." And she also felt like she was in a friendship couple with Marvin. So I guess she didn't think it was going anywhere. So she thought, hey, why not? And so she was coupled up with Casey by default. And so for the guys, we had Isaiah and Toby and Josh all say no to coupling up with the bombshell, so return to sender. But Marvin, who I expected, and Tyrique, whom I also expected, said they wanted to couple up with the bombshell. So basically, Ty was just trying to go tit for tat with Justine, like, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you in this instance. And not only that, Johnny said he was going to risk his safety and Andreina's safety to try to couple up with the bombshell. And so that he did. And no surprise here, Gabby picked Johnny out of the three guys because she felt like he would be the best to compete with in the games. And honestly, I agree. So that left Marvin and Ty still vulnerable. But we're not going to end the night there, okay? There's still one more decision to make, Ariana says. So Toby and Sydney, the power couple, each get to choose a boy and a girl to save from vulnerability. So Toby chooses Lucinda because that's his friend on the outside. And Sydney, shocker, chooses Tyrique because she says that Tyrique and Toby are friends on the outside, which they are, but she felt like that would be better for her competition. And so that's kind of where we ended it. So before the episode came to a close, America got to vote for a girl and a boy that they wanted to save. And I actually chose Justine because my girl cannot be going out right now, okay? Even though she won the last season, love her and want to see her do well in this season. And I also voted for Marvin, just saying, because I also didn't think he was going to be getting a lot of votes, but wanted to see him continue further in the game as well. And so with that, I rate this episode a 7 out of 10. I think the conversations were cool, but the most interesting part about the episode was the bombshells coming in and that shakeup. Speaking of shakeups, we go into episode 12 with the drama just picking up basically where it left off. Andreina is pissed, rightfully so, with Johnny for now putting her in a vulnerable position. So what does she do? She pulls out the best revenge bikini that I have seen, and on any of the Love Islands. Um, and boy, was my jaw on the floor. I mean, body, Adi, Adi. I mean, who doesn't aspire to it? It's almost in comparison to Meg Thee Stallion, which I shouldn't compare the two because they're both beautiful women. But that's my point, okay? The body was banging. The boys' heads were definitely turning and made them, do a double take. But ultimately, America decides to save Justine and Josh. And with the least amount of votes, we have Andreina and Gabby going into the next duel, as well as Kendall and Marvin. So the focus of this episode was primarily the duel called Grab the Tag. Essentially, the Islanders were blindfolded in a corner of the rink where they had these bells tied around their like wrists and ankles, and these tags hanging from a belt around their waist. And it was best 3 out of 5. So, could go up to 5 rounds, but the best 3 won. And so we had Andreina and Gabby to start. Honestly, I thought that they would be a pretty even match because of the type of game. Gabby did take the first round easily, in my opinion. You could definitely see the fight on her face. She was ready. She was not willing to go down easily, and I definitely respected that. I think the first round, Andreina was kind of more in her head. She definitely did not look confident. But that second round, Andreina, she put up a little bit more of a fight. Okay, I believe Gabby actually took that round, so it was left down to the third one where Gabby could have very easily taken it. But guess what? Andreina fought back, honey. She ended up winning that round and the fourth round. So it all came down to round five. Both girls put up a fight, but Gabby did end up taking it in the end, which left Andreina dumped. So then we had Kendall and Marvin's match. Theirs was definitely a lot more intense. I will say I was more surprised by Kendall and his performance. I actually thought going in that Marvin was going to be able to take this one. But Kendall proved me wrong, and I live for it. Okay, my boy was agile, he was strategic, and he took the win ultimately, which dumped our boy Marvin. I will say, Johnny, he definitely seemed like he was feeling guilty about risking Andreina's safety. He did give her a little pep talk before the duel, saying like, "Hey, basically, you can do this," but it it was for naught. Um, my girl Andreina still went home, and Johnny was taking the heat for sure from a lot of the Islanders. He was also taking a little heat from Marvin. Marvin felt like he was basically kind of backstabbed by Johnny because Johnny was in a safe position and Marvin wasn't. He felt like he would have had a better shot between, I guess, him and Ty going for the bombshell. But honestly, Marvin, fate is fate. Okay, it was just your time to go. And I do respect Johnny for risking his safety and going for what he thought would potentially be a better option for his game. Because that's what it is about at the end of the day. Who is coming up there, putting basically their life on hold to play all of these games, physical and mind games, mind you, to not win $250,000? Like, I get it. So with that, I J rate this episode a 7 out of 10. I felt like the most interesting part about it was the duels, but it wasn't a standout episode for me. I'll be completely honest. So after saying goodbye to Andreina and Marvin, episode 13 brings us into more of a little um funner episode. They have the sweet spot challenge this episode with Maura. She comes in, and I feel like it kind of brings in a breath of fresh air. So at the beginning of the episode, we get to check in with the Islanders. We see Gabby and Kendall celebrating their win. We see Justine. I don't know what's up with this. Okay, so my girl was just pissed the last episode because she realized that Tyrique was just playing her. We turn around to see them all cuddled up and her stroking his beard. Like, what, sis, what are we doing? You're supposed to be mad at him, okay? Or at the very least, just keeping things cordial for the game, all right? So that you can win. Not getting all cuddled back up and loved up. Okay? And then we have Johnny and Gabby, who shared quite a couple of kisses. Okay? Which honestly, I wouldn't say I was surprised by it because they both seem like they're attracted to each other. But I will say that I think Johnny has met his match in Gabby as it relates to the game. Like, she is not gonna fall for his BS. She knows that he is a strong competitor and that they could win the game together, but she also knows that if she's not performing well, he will drop her. And I think she is thinking about her game in the back of her head, which is very smart of her. On the other hand of that, though, we have Josh and Andrea, who actually seem to be like progressing with each other a little further. Like, they can compete well together in the challenges, but it also seems like they actually like each other. I will say, besides them, Kendall and Gabby are the only two who seem to be forming something like maybe romantic. Lucinda and Isaiah, still too early for them to tell. And honestly, she's from the UK, he's from the US. I don't see them, really going that far. I could probably say the same about Kendall and Gabby as well. But they do mesh well together. Like, I could actually see them on the outside. So after we see the couples catch up with each other a little bit, we go into the sweet spot challenge hosted by Maura, where they complete these like this Willy Wonka challenge, basically, where they fill like this gooey liquid packing peanuts and sprinkles into these three cylinders. They're broken up into two teams with Johnny and Gabby and Nicola and Casey as team captains. And so on Johnny and Gabby's team, we had Toby, Tyrique, Andrea, Lucinda, and Isaiah. And then on Nicola and Casey's team, we had Justine, Josh, Sydney, and Kendall, and Garby. Can't forget about her. So throughout the challenge, there were some fun matchups. I definitely enjoyed Maura's sexual innuendos. They were hilarious. But ultimately, Johnny and Gabby's team performed the best, with Toby and Tyrique coming out at the very top. And they did fly through the challenge. They did a great job together. And so with that, we're thinking, okay, Johnny and Gabby's team won, so they're going to be power couple. No, we get a shocking little twist. No power couple, but a power squad. Basically, the Power Rangers, child. So the Power Rangers had to decide which two boys and two girls from the losing team would go into the duel together, and they had to mark them with the kiss of death. I mean, baby, the drama was dramaing. Okay, who is the drama? Love Island Games and the producers. Okay, and so the Power Squad ultimately decided to pick Kendall and Josh to duel each other, and Garby and Nicola to duel each other, by giving them the kiss of death. And with that, I say I J-rate that episode an 8 out of 10, baby. It was pretty good. I think the most enjoyable part was definitely the Sweet Spot Challenge, and then seeing the Power Squad, aka Power Rangers, convene and decide on who they want to go into the duel next. All right, y'all. That's episode 10, 12, and 13 all wrapped up. We had new bombshells. We had some messiness. Okay. We had some safe to vulnerable choices. So tell me, what do y'all think? Was Johnny wrong for shaking things up, or should he have played it safe? And can we talk about Justine and Tyrique, child? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. I do want the best for my girl, and I do want her to win. So if this is what she feels like is best, I stick beside her. All right? Until next time, guys. Cheers.